Champion Rob Van Dam. It's time to go over who all I think will be victorious at Sunday's pay-per-view. It's the RCWR show, Call That Match edition, and folks, it begins right now.
The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive, covering the latest in wrestling and beyond. You're listening to the RCWR show with Lee Sanders.
Pleased to meet you. Nice to know me, Black Avenger, Black Azrael, Lee Sanders here, welcoming you to this special edition of the RCWR show, Call That Match edition. We're going to be taking a look at WWE's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. It should be without a doubt one of the most talked about pay-per-views this year, aside from SummerSlam, as on card, folks. And just in case you haven't looked at the card within recent weeks, we're definitely going to be going over it. This is definitely a pay-per-view when you look at these matches on paper, shaping up to be without a doubt a very, very strong pay-per-view. Probably going to be another home run by WWE, considering what they did at Extreme Rules and then following up with Payback. Now we got Money in the Bank. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this. You know how we do it over here on our Call That Match special. If you are new to this, basically yours truly rolls up the sleeves to offer match winners and possible feud/storylines that we can expect within weeks to come. It's really fun. It's really insightful. Just kick on back and enjoy this. And remember, if you end up liking this, be sure to leave those comments, as we love to hear from you all. You can hit us up on our YouTube channel at the RCWR show. You can also interact with us. Let us know your match predictions for Sunday's pay-per-view by hitting us up on Twitter at Infinity1Prod or over at our show handle at the RCWR show. You can also show us some love on Facebook by hitting us up at Infinity1Productions.com. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. Things are going to kick off with that Money in the Bank pre-show, as it was revealed that we're going to be seeing The Shield, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns defend their tag team titles against the Usos. Usos have become number one contenders several weeks back. They've been on a little bit of a roll, a repackaged roll at that, as we see them pushing new face paint and all. But is that face paint, maybe new attire colors, going to be enough to take on Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns? Is it going to be enough to get them over the Shield and become possibly the new tag team champions? Survey says no, not in this first encounter for the tag titles. And folks, I'm going to tell you the reason why. Let's not forget Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. They had won the tag titles off of Team Hell Knows, Kane and Daniel Bryan, back at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. They did end up having a rematch for the titles. They were unsuccessful in getting those belts. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, 2 pay-per-views now. They would be truly phenomenal. First title defense at Payback, they shine bright. This time around, in their second title defense, I don't quite see the tag titles changing hands just yet. I want many of you to look at this tag match that's going to be going on at Sunday's pay-per-view as a bit of a introduction to this rivalry, if you will. I think that this is basically going to be Act 1 of a long program. Could we see the Usos eventually become the tag team champions? And could they, most importantly, be the ones to take those titles away from the Shield? Yes, I say they're young. They have great energy. They have great chemistry in the ring. They really know how to get the crowd worked up with their Samoan-like war dance. They're screaming. They're shouting. I love it. I love the Usos. I wish they could talk a little bit more on the mic, but they kind of make up for that with what they do in the ring. I do see them becoming tag team champions eventually, but on this night out in Pennsylvania, sorry boys, I've got to give the edge to Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. Remember, we've seen a little bit of kink in the Shield's armor within recent weeks as they had lost that 6-man tag match, as it was them with Dean Ambrose being defeated by Christian and the Usos. And then just a little bit before that, we saw them suffer another defeat. So, there's a little bit of a cake in the armor of the Shield right now, and they need to rebound in a big way, especially after the promo that Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns had cut on the Usos on SmackDown last week, basically saying that they are on an entirely different level. They are more refocused. They are working together in harmony more than ever. I think that's really going to pose a serious threat on the Usos. But when it's all said and done, Usos, I got them losing. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, they will continue to be your tag team champions, but expect for this rivalry to continue out on television. Could maybe, just maybe, we see the Usos end up in another tag match against the Shield's Rollins and Reigns at SummerSlam. And could they become successful? It's highly probable. Let's move along now and let's talk about the Divas Championship, as AJ Lee will be defending it against Caitlyn. This is one of many matches on this card that I am looking forward to seeing. It seems as though the Divas division has gotten a bit of a jolt within recent weeks, even going a couple of months back there between AJ, Caitlyn. Their friendship / rivalry has a long history. Things have just been getting downright ugly on the side of the Divas division, as AJ Lee, she has just been pushing all the right buttons on Caitlyn, just rubbing it all in her face that she has the Divas title, and that basically Caitlyn it's really just been getting ugly. It's gotten ugly to the point that we got people calling one another fat, ugly, look like a dude. It's really just been getting personal. Calling somebody a slut. I mean, you name it. They're throwing everything out there. This is one rivalry. This is one matchup that I can definitely get behind. Now, as far as who are we gonna see walk away with the Divas title, come on, man. AJ Lee is just white hot right now. She may no longer be working with her Ziggly Poo, but she's got Big E Langston, who could possibly play a bit of a role in this match. Who knows? I know Layla, if I'm booking this right, I would actually have Layla be there at ringside. Maybe she could cause a little bit of a distraction by flirting with Big E Langston, and that pretty much eliminates him so that it can come down to Caitlyn versus AJ. Caitlyn has just been having wonders in this feud with AJ. Remember what I was saying a couple of months back? Remember how when Caitlyn had first became the Divas champion, the fans were not on her side. She just really had a hard time connecting with the audience. She just was not getting over. She wasn't getting any type of a reaction. Here you are, you put her in this feud with AJ, and she's become somewhat relevant. It's not the Bella Twins. It's not, Yo-Yo and whatever the other chick is that looks like they're going to be becoming new WWE divas pretty soon. It's not all about them. It is all about these two girls getting it on for the Divas Championship. But you know what? Despite the fact that this is probably going to be an all-out brawl, these girls probably aren't going to wait for the bell to ring. They're probably going to be just pulling each other's weaves out, rolling all around the ring. I'm really expecting a slobber fest, but when it's all said and done, I've got AJ Lee by hook or crook going over Caitlyn to retain the Divas Championship. Curtis Axel will be defending his Intercontinental title against The Miz. Am I the only one that really does not want to see this match? Don't get me wrong. I love Curtis Axel, but I just feel that with The Miz being thrown in here, I could really care less about this. But we can go ahead and we can talk about this match. Curtis Axel taking on The Miz. We've seen the rivalry play out here, and I just love how Wade Barrett is just like not even involved in the Intercontinental title picture anymore. How he was just able to just skyrocket to that Money in the Bank ladder match for the World Heavyweight title. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But Curtis Axel had became the new Intercontinental Champion last month. Remember the circumstances there at Payback, as Miz had applied the figure 4 leg lock to Wade Barrett in the middle of the ring. He laid on his back to try to apply more pressure on that figure 4 leg lock. And without him knowing it, we would see Curtis Axel get in the ring, cover Wade Barrett to get the 1-2-3 to steal. I know he won, but I'm calling it how I see it. He stole the Intercontinental title. So this is somewhat the reason why we're seeing this match play out. But you know, despite that, we really haven't seen within recent weeks on Raw programming or even on SmackDown, hell, not even on Main Event, we really haven't been seeing these two really continue that build-up towards Money in the Bank for this match. But hey, despite all that, I've got to go with Curtis Axel. Curtis Axel, after all, he is a Paul Heyman guy, and there's just no chance in hell I see Curtis Axel coming down to ringside alone. I think when it's all said and done, Paul Heyman, a couple of ways this could play out. He could play a role in this match to cause a few shenanigans to allow for Curtis Axel to get a victory, whether it be by pinfall or submission. I'm looking more at pinfall more than anything else to perhaps continue this program with The Miz. Miz could easily say that Heyman was a distraction at ringside, and maybe we could eventually see these two guys have another match. I wouldn't even be that surprised if there was a rematch for the Intercontinental title on Raw or SmackDown that week after the pay-per-view. But I've got to look at Curtis Axel in his first title defense. Bearing in mind, he won that Intercontinental title on Father's Day, 23 years to the day that his father, the late Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, won the title. There's just no chance whatsoever he's going to lose this title in his first defense. Hands down, Curtis Axel for the victory. However, look for these two to continue their feud. I definitely am sold on Miz continuing to work with Axel for a few more weeks, maybe even into the next program. Gives Axel a little bit something to do while you can still have him briefly rub elbows with CM Punk. Alright, let's talk about Chris Jericho taking on Ryback, or as he's been dubbed within recent weeks, Cryback. It's going to be a one-on-one match. This is actually one bout, folks, that I think will be a pleasant surprise. There's no doubt in my mind that Jericho has probably been working behind the scenes with Ryback. They're probably been doing their thing at house shows, really ironing out the kinks for their match. You know how Chris Jericho is a perfectionist. You know how he loves to make sure that without a doubt, he has fans talking about his matches. I feel that this is without a doubt going to be one of those type of matches that's going to have folks talking. I really feel that for some of you that may be looking at this match and you may be saying, this is going to be a bit of a snoozer, I agree with you to a certain extent. I would expect this match to probably be a little bit slow at the start. Probably be very slow paced. Might even get to the point where fans kind of boo a little bit, as it could be a case of cat and mouse maybe. Especially when you throw into the equation that Ryback has been complaining about his knee, and a couple of weeks back he stopped the match because he couldn't continue on because of that bad leg. Is this basically one of those hook, fish, line, and sinker, reel him in type of moments as he's just trying to get Jericho in the right place? Who knows? But for this match right here, seeing as how Jericho had took a loss at the hands of CM Punk at Payback, you would think that maybe with this match, Jericho would be the one to get a W over Ryback. I'm actually going to go with Ryback. I said it a couple of weeks back on the RCWR show weekend edition, and I have to stay firm. I have to stick with those comments that I said a couple of weekends ago, which is Ryback really needs to start rebuilding his stock. He needs to start rebuilding his hype, because right now he is just somewhat lost in the shuffle. And if WWE is not careful, they're going to end up having a guy who has all the greatest potential in the world of being a future world heavyweight WWE champion. Just those dreams just go poof in smoke. This is a case right here where the booking has to be smart. And bearing that in mind, you gotta have Ryback get a win over Chris Jericho. Now, bear in mind that Chris Jericho, he is supposed to go on tour with Fozzy very shortly. And we think we may know when Jericho is going to be doing his thing and leaving WWE for a little bit. But as we've come to know, we just can't expect the unexpected from Chris Jericho, as he is one that always likes to surprise us. We think we know what's going on, but he always throws us curveballs. I actually can see these two continuing some type of a feud that could culminate at SummerSlam with, once again, Ryback going over Jericho. But for this first strike, I need to see Ryback pick up the victory. And the way that they need to go about this, they need to have Ryback just destroy the hell out of Chris Jericho. Destroy him to the point that Jericho is off television for a couple of weeks to sell the injuries, but then he comes back, kind of similar to what's going on with Alberto Del Rio, Dolph Ziggler. He comes back in that fashion, looking for revenge and not giving a crap about his health, because he wants to get his hands on Ryback no matter what. And we can see one more encounter go down between these two. But I don't think this is going to be a one-shot type of match. I see these two continuing at least for one more program. But first strike, I gotta have Ryback go over Jericho. That's the way I'm booking it right here. Besides, look at the boosting that Ryback will be able to do if he destroys him the same way as Kofi Kingston or Kane, all the other opponents that he had took out leading into his match with John Cena at Payback. If he could take him out in somewhat similar fashion, Jericho that is, he will have so much bragging rights to be able to manhandle a former first-time undisputed champion, a man that's defeated The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night. That's great bragging rights right there. Let's talk about that World Heavyweight Championship, as we're going to be seeing the one and only Dolph Ziggler return to face Alberto Del Rio This is Dolph Ziggler's chance right here. The $1 million question, though, is he 100%? No, a lot of people were shocked at what had went down at the Payback pay-per-view, as it was Bizarro World. Alberto Del Rio going in as a face would end up being a heel. Dolph Ziggler going in as a heel would end up being a baby face. WWE, they are now on the bandwagon of having Dolph Ziggler be a straight up babyface, and I like the way that they've been handling it so far. They haven't just made him do a full 180. He still got the cockiness. He has that arrogance. He's still the same type of Dolph Ziggler that we've come to know and love over the years. I love the fact that WWE has been handling this right, not like the way that they've been doing Alberto Del Rio when they did try to make him go over as a babyface, and unfortunately that did not work out so well. So now the question, these two guys locking it up, is it now time for Dolph Ziggler to become the World Heavyweight Champion again, now that he's basically a babyface? I don't see that happening just yet. I think Alberto Del Rio has finally found that little niche that he needs right now to go over as a heel. He has the fans booing him. He's getting those reactions. He's getting better reactions from the WWE Universe as a heel than he did recently when he was a babyface. So I think that definitely has bought Del Rio some time to continue holding on to that World Heavyweight title. Hey, I'm glad Dolph Ziggler is a babyface, but he needs to chase after that World Heavyweight title just a little while longer. And it's interesting because if this goes down properly, we could actually end up seeing Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, and the winner of that World Heavyweight ladder match for the contract to go for that title. We could end up seeing it be a three-way. You never know how this could work out. But if I was booking it, that's how I would kind of have it set up. But regardless, I'm dealing with this match as it is right now. As much as I love Dolph Ziggler, longtime fan, I got ADR going over him. This is another case right here where it could either be hook or by crook. And you know, if I was booking this right, I know we have Ricardo Rodriguez. He's away for about 30 days. He won't be back till maybe, just maybe right before SummerSlam. If I was looking at this right now from a booking standpoint, now would be a good time to have Rosa Mendes actually come to the service of ADR. Just think about it. Remember several months back, we had saw Rosa Mendes kind of seem like maybe she was distancing herself from Primo and Epico as she was starting to find herself more intrigued by ADR, and it was looking as though we were going to see Rosa become a manager or a valet for Del Rio. I think that with Rosa getting ready to come back to the WWE, no doubt she's probably going to be back on main WWE programming, as they do need to capitalize on the fact that she is a Latina and she is just one gorgeous looking babe. I feel they need to capitalize on that, and what better way to capitalize on that than to have her side with ADR. Basically, we'd be looking at a heel version of AJ Lee, Dolph Ziggler, but that's exactly what Del Rio needs going into this match. That's how I would book it, but assuming that they don't go that route, still, ADR, shenanigans in this match. I got him going over Dolph Ziggler. We were talking about that Money in the Bank ladder match for a World Heavyweight Championship contract. Let's go over this. This is one right here. We got to make sure that we do some proper eliminations right here. Just look at the names in this matchup, and bear in mind, all these guys are heels. We have as follows: Wade Barrett versus Cody Rhodes versus Damien Sandow versus Dean Ambrose versus Fandango versus Jack Swagger versus Antonio Cesaro. One person can go on to become the next Money in the Bank winner for a shot at that World Heavyweight title. Who could it possibly be? Let's go by order of eliminations. Let's go with the weakest and the strongest right here. And we don't need to go all that in depth into this. Let's go with Antonio Cesaro. Without a doubt, he is a great in-ring performer. The thing that has been hurting Cesaro the most, though, he has got a lot of resets. Just think about from the time that he first came onto the scene and he got paired up with Ascana. Then he started doing the whole 5 different languages. Then he was doing the yodeling. He ditched Ascana. Now he's doing the Don't Tread on Me with Jack Swagger. I mean, the guy has just had so many resets that I don't feel there's any gimmick that can help this guy. If he's not able to get over on the microphone, then he's not gonna make it that very far, unfortunately. Antonio Cesaro, as much as I love him, I'm a hardcore Antonio Cesaro fan. I could watch his matches for hours. I'm sorry, but the Ring of Honor alumni right here, he's not the one that's gonna get this contract. So we gotta eliminate him off the break. Jack Swagger, same deal. I think what had went down earlier this year with the whole DUI, weed possession, I think that really had messed him up, because I think this would be just an entirely different WWE right now if that didn't go on. I think he would be our current World Heavyweight Champion, finding some type of a way to get over his opponents with the help of Zeb Coulter. Jack Swagger, though, hey, I just don't see the same enthusiasm from creative and booking to make them want to say, you know what, let's go with Jack Swagger. Don't see it happening. Fandango. I know this is said to be Mr. McMahon's pet project. He loves him, Fandango. He wants to see this guy do big things in the WWE. I think, honestly, if it wasn't for the concussion that had happened to Fandango several weeks back, he probably would be the one that would be the Intercontinental Champion right now, and not Curtis Axel. That's just my strong beliefs on that. But Fandango, unfortunately, is not quite ready. He's very limited in the ring, just as his dancing. And I really haven't seen enough as far as mic work goes to make me say, okay, this is definitely a guy who overall should be a future World Heavyweight Champion, WWE Champion. I just do not see that in Fandango just yet. Could it even happen with this current gimmick is the real question. I think not. We now go to Cody Rhodes, Damien Sandow, Team Rhodes Scholars. Love both of these guys. Cody Rhodes, he's not quite there yet. I think that for Cody, his future is going to be announcing more matches alongside Josh Matthews for Main Event on the Ion channel. That's his future. And I think he's been doing a phenomenal job at that. No knock to him. I think he's been doing awesome work. But Cody Rhodes, man, here's another guy that we've seen, just like Cesaro, but Cody has gotten so many more resets. Remember, we had the dashing Cody Rhodes, then we had the hideous plastic mask Cody Rhodes, then we had the Cody Rhodes that was teaming up with Damien Sandow briefly, then we got the mustache Cody Rhodes. This guy's been repackaged at least 4 or 5 times already. WWE, they're trying. Time to time, Rhodes can give us some really great matches. But Rhodes, love you, buddy, but I don't see you getting this Money in the Bank contract. So let's eliminate Cody. That now leaves us with 3 guys if you're keeping track. It's down to Damien Sandow, Dean Ambrose, Wade Barrett. Let's go with Damien Sandow. Phenomenal athlete. When he first came to the scene on the blue brand late last year, the man had people talking. He was one of the greatest highlights of Friday Night SmackDown. What happened? Just as they do every single wrestler that they test out on the Blue brand, we see him get double exposure on Raw, SmackDown. Then he started to become exclusive to Raw for several months. Now it kind of looks like he's just popping up everywhere now. I think he needs that same type of creative push that he had initially when he first went to the Blue brand. I don't see Damien Sandow. I love Damien Sandow, but I'm just keeping in the back of my mind how he's been booked recently. I just don't see him getting the job done, and it actually wouldn't even surprise me if we could end up seeing Team Rhodes Scholars try to form a union for a little bit, but it disintegrates in this match. Same deal with Swagger and Cesaro. I could see them on the same page at first, but hey, eventually every man's going to have to be for himself, but that's how I'm looking at it right there. So we're now down to Dean Ambrose, Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett, this is the argument I could make right here. Wade Barrett, he would be I'm not even ready to talk about Wade Barrett right now. Let's go to Dean Ambrose first. Dean Ambrose. If I was booking this, I would have Dean Ambrose win the World Heavyweight Championship contract in this Money in the Bank match. And I'm going to tell you why. Talk about a true mark out moment right here. To see a Ring of Honor alumni somewhat following the same footsteps as Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, to win the briefcase. You would just have the entire internet wrestling community, hardcore Ring of Honor fans in euphoria. I could just imagine people setting a car on fire and dancing in the streets. That's just how crazy it would be. This would be the greatest and smartest freaking booking on WWE's part. Would they be willing to pull the trigger? Part of me would love to see this go down, but then there's that other part of me that says Dean Ambrose has that United States title. Would the booking people really entertain the thought? Could they handle booking Dean Ambrose in United States title matches while he's holding on to that Money in the Bank briefcase? If I was booking this, it wouldn't even be an issue. I have him go on ahead and do the damn thing. The guy has just been phenomenal since Rollins Reigns has come onto the scene in WWE. By far, without a doubt, he is a future WWE World Heavyweight Champion, whether some people like it or not. But the fact that he has that United States title, I don't see Dean Ambrose getting the job done. It would be freaking awesome, but I don't see him getting the job done. I'm looking at Wade Barrett, folks, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm looking at Wade Barrett to be the winner for this match. Let's break it down. Wade Barrett, he won NXT a couple of years back. He did the Nexus. It was one of the hottest things that was going on for WWE at the time. Shield has surpassed them since then, but before the Shield, Nexus was throwing it down every single week. Their value had got diminished when it was just all about the one-man band, John Cena, taking them on. Then we saw Barrett try to do the whole core on SmackDown. That really didn't last too long. Wasn't quite the same as we saw CM Punk become the new leader of the new Nexus. He has just done so much since he's been in the WWE, and there just seemed like there was a few times where he could have gone over as a WWE champion or a World Heavyweight Champion, but it just seemed like he got lost in the shuffle. Let's not forget, recently we saw him have a feud with NXT rookie Bo Dallas. That didn't really go anywhere. Anybody still remember that when the two were going at it on, what was that, an episode of Raw, SmackDown, and then the Royal Rumble? Actually, it all stemmed from the Royal Rumble. Then it leaked into Raw, SmackDown. We thought maybe we were going to see a match come out of it, but next thing you know, Bo Dallas just mysteriously disappeared. They never brought this guy back up again. Wade Barrett, he won the Intercontinental title, but then he lost the Intercontinental title all within the span of 6 months this year. Wade Barrett, his value has just been going in a middle-like fashion of a roller coaster, and I just feel that the writing is on the wall. Wade Barrett needs to get this shot. If Wade Barrett does not win this Money in the Bank contract, I feel that there is probably going to be no chance in hell of Wade Barrett becoming a future champion in the company. I feel all the stars have aligned. It's definitely Wade Barrett's time. I got Wade Barrett winning the whole thing. All right, let's talk about our next Money in the Bank ladder match. It's for the WWE Championship. And hey, by the way, we got all baby faces that are going to be taking each other on in this match. Let's go over the names. It's CM Punk taking on Daniel Bryan, taking on Randy Orton, taking on Sheamus, Christian, Kane, and a returning Rob Van Dam. It's the All-Stars Money in the Bank ladder match for a WWE Championship contract. Let's really break this down right here. We got Daniel Bryan that's trying to follow into the same footsteps as CM Punk and become a two-time Money in the Bank winner. We got CM Punk who's looking to make history and be the only man to win Money in the Bank 3 times and be the first guy to, and only guy at that, to have 3 successful cash-ins. We got Randy Orton, who has not tasted WWE Championship in a long time. Same argument can be said for Kane, who has not tasted that WWE title for almost 15 years. Mr. Give me one more match, Christian. He was a 2-time World Heavyweight Champion. Could Christian finally meet his real destiny and follow in the footsteps of his best friend, the Rated R superstar, Edge, in becoming a WWE champion to even more solidify his legacy? And of course, we have a returning Rob Van Dam, who is somewhat coming back home, if you will. May not be ECW, but he was definitely welcomed by the WWE Universe for all those years. So, as far as many fans are concerned, he's coming back home where he belongs. This is really anybody's match right here. You have so many of these guys that could truly get this. Let's go with the order of elimination, and this isn't going to be as in-depth as what we did with the World Heavyweight Championship contract. This is a little bit more easier. Let's start with Christian. I mentioned him earlier, following in the same footsteps of Edge. That would really be freaking awesome to see Christian finally have a chance to win the big one, the real big one. Yeah, World Heavyweight Champion is one thing, but to say that you were the WWE Champion, officially the man, that says a lot. But unfortunately, Christian, and as much as I love Christian, I don't see him along the likes of a CM Punk, a Daniel Bryan, a Randy Orton, a Sheamus, hell, not even a Kane. I don't see him as a WWE champion. I don't see him as the face of the WWE. It's unfortunate, I know. Maybe it's mainly because of the fact that Father Time has caught up with him. If maybe Christian was 10 years younger, hey, maybe, but I just don't see it happening for Christian. Christian, sorry, buddy, but we got to eliminate you. Let's now go with Kane. It's been almost 15 years since he held the WWE title. Is Kane finally starting to wind it down? We've been hearing those rumblings that maybe Glenn Jacobs, aka Kane, is considering going into politics of some sorts. He's kind of denying it, but you just keep hearing his name more and more actively involved in political issues. You can't help but kind of wonder. Most importantly, would WWE be willing to finally recognize everything that Kane has done in the company and basically reward him for his loyalty all these years? I don't quite see Kane being the face of the WWE. I don't see it happening. I think the current Kane that we have right now, the whole slapstick comedy that he came off with Daniel Bryan and Team Hell No, I think that's on a lot of minds of fans. It would be kind of hard to take Kane seriously, not to mention he is kind of up there in age. I don't think he could handle the type of a workhorse schedule of being a WWE champion. Gotta eliminate Kane. Sorry, buddy. Alright, now let's go with Sheamus. Sheamus, he's been pushing new commercials, 1-800-FELLA. He's been pushing new t-shirts. He's got the whole thing going on. Sheamus, a former World Heavyweight Champion and a damn good World Heavyweight Champion at that. That last reign that he had, that was just one of the most impressive reigns of a World Heavyweight Champion that I've seen in quite some time. He was a fighting champion. He defended that title anywhere, any place, any type of match, and he had the bruises to prove that he was willing to have one hell of a damn good fight. Sheamus right here, though, there's just something about Sheamus that's just rubbing me the wrong way right here. I'm just not really sold on a Sheamus winning the contract for that WWE title. I don't quite see him as the face of WWE. Not just yet. He still has a little ways to go before he can get that title. Will he be a WWE champion one day? Yes, without a doubt. I can see it happen within the next 2 years. But as far as this calendar year goes, as far as this pay-per-view goes, Sheamus not quite there just yet. He still needs a little bit more fine tuning, especially on the mic. I'm not seeing him yet. So that now leaves us with the top 4 guys here. We got Rob Van Dam, Randy Orton, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan. Let's go with Rob Van Dam. He is being looked at as one of the favorites. What better way to come back to the WWE and really get fans over than by becoming Mr. Money in the Bank, kind of echoing what he did years back. What was that? Back in 2006, I believe it was, where he had cashed in the Money in the Bank to take on John Cena at ECW's One Night Stand. What a great freaking mark-out moment that was, too, when he became the champion. Yeah, no, I'm looking at this match, and as much as I would love to see Rob Van Dam become Mr. Money in the Bank, we got to think about the type of schedule that he has. It was revealed that he has somewhat of a similar deal to Brock Lesnar, which is he's only going to be doing sporadic appearances, special pay-per-view events. Kind of keeping that in the back of my mind right here. I think Rob Van Dam, he's definitely going to steal the show. He's going to have a great, phenomenal night at Money in the Bank. A lot of people are going to be talking about some sweet spots that he did in this bout, but he is not the one that's going to win this. Randy Orton, the Viper. What do you do with Randy Orton, the Viper, who is just really pressed up against the wall right now? You do know, folks, that one more violation in the wellness policy, and WWE will have no choice but to terminate him. What do you do with Randy Orton? Such an interesting position to have him in. It seems like just when we think Randy Orton is at that point where he's really on good graces with management, and it looks as though he's about to get one serious push, he does some type of self-sabotaging, and as a result, we see him eat a little bit of dirt for a bit. I just am not quite comfortable on a Randy Orton winning Money in the Bank. I still think that he is a wild card when it's all said and done. I think it would be a serious gamble to have him be the face of the WWE. Hey, he hasn't held the title, I believe he said in about man, it feels like it's been like maybe a year, maybe 2 years that Orton hasn't held the title. I'd love to see him as champion again, but I don't think it's going to happen Sunday night. Orton, I would actually like to see him finally get what he's been asking for, which is to finally go back to being a heel guy. I think we've got enough guys in the right position to be the top baby faces. It's time to see some folks switch it up a bit, and Orton just works better as a heel anyway, but I don't see Orton getting it done. It's now down to CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. You know, I think if CM Punk were to win the briefcase, it would be too much of a distraction, if you will, because he wins it and then he has to focus on Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. You know it's coming. Quite honestly, if I was booking this right, I would actually have Brock Lesnar make an appearance at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view to interfere in this match, to just single out CM Punk. And just how badass would it be to see him deliver a devastating F5 to CM Punk and then just roll the hell out. CM Punk so injured, he's not able to continue the match. They have to take him out on a stretcher. Talk about freaking awesome. You could just eliminate him that way, and basically everybody else, they're still going at it. But it would be nice to see some type of a distraction like that go down. Or maybe this could be a case right here if they didn't want to go the Brock Lesnar route, as that's the route I would go if I was booking this. Another route you can go is have Paul Heyman cost CM Punk the opportunity of winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. You could basically have him grab on CM Punk's leg as he's trying to get to the top of the ladder to get the briefcase. Push that ladder over, send CM Punk crashing. CM Punk's injured. That's one way you could definitely do it. Set up a pretty explosive Raw as CM Punk is demanding answers. Boom. He gets met with Brock Lesnar again. Two of those guys, they're brawling it out. It can get a little bloody. It'd be some awesome stuff right there. But I need to see some type of a curveball happen with CM Punk participating in this match. My money is on Daniel Bryan. He is going to be your winner. I've definitely got to go with Daniel Bryan for the victory. Let's not forget upper management. They have seriously been in debates over the past several weeks about a program that could see Daniel Bryan taking on John Cena at SummerSlam. And quite honestly, I think with the way that WWE has been presenting Daniel Bryan within recent weeks, having him get some pretty damn good victories over the likes of Randy Orton and The Shield. They've just been doing a really good job separating him from Kane and giving him a bit of an edge, giving him a bit of a chip on his shoulder to prove that he is truly one of the best technical guys to ever lace up a pair of boots in that ring. And hell, any guy that is willing to get in the face of Triple H and yell at him for stopping one of his matches, hey, that's a guy I definitely would say, let's definitely make this guy a champion, because it takes balls to get into the face of your boss and yell at him. But I gotta have Daniel Bryan go over. I think he's done everything that has been asked of him in the WWE. Whether it was when he won the World Heavyweight title and then he lost it to Sheamus in 18 seconds. The team hell no. Daniel Bryan has just done everything that's been asked of him. And when it's all said and done, I think it's really time for WWE to reward him for being that yes man, even though he likes to say no. I got Daniel Bryan winning the Money in the Bank ladder match for the WWE Championship contract. We've got one more match that we need to talk about. It's John Cena taking on Mark Henry for that WWE title. Could this be the night that Mark Henry shocks the hell out of a lot of fans and becomes WWE Champion for the very first time. Oh, talk about a heartache. Smart booking would say, give it to Mark Henry. Let him destroy John Cena. I mean, this really reminds me of Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 3. Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T. He just destroys the hell out of John Cena the first time that they cross paths with each other. Rocky ends up training hard, and the next time that these two meet up, he takes the belt right back. If I was booking this, man, I would actually have Mark Henry take away that WWE title from Cena. And maybe we could set up some type of a match a couple of weeks before SummerSlam that could see Cena get a rematch against Henry for the title. Cena, he wins the belt right back. It's been a long time since we've seen the WWE title change hands on Raw. I would be fine with it just so we could say that Mark Henry, he did actually win the WWE title. But with regards to this matchup, I don't know. This is one right here that kind of has me going, does John Cena steamroll over Mark Henry? Then I have to think about SummerSlam that's going to be coming up. What is a better draw? What's a better marquee? And from that money-making standpoint, I got to have John Cena go over Mark Henry. Now, if smart booking right here would have this match somewhat in a way of Ryback versus John Cena from Extreme Rules. And we basically had no winner, and it could be a bit of a cliffhanger. That way they can pick it back up later. That would be a nice way to do it. Would they be willing to do that, though? I'm not really sure, but keeping in the back of our minds here, folks, that we got SummerSlam around the corner. I got John Cena going over Mark Henry. And there, folks, is our winners for Money in the Bank 2013. Let's take it from the bottom. Let's work our way up to the top. For the pre-show, I've got Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns going over the Usos. For the Divas Championship, I have Caitlyn retaining over Caitlyn. For the Intercontinental title, I have Curtis Axel retaining over The Miz. Chris Jericho versus Ryback. I have Ryback picking up a much-needed victory over Y2J. Let's not forget all those other losses that Ryback's accumulated over recent months at pay-per-view events. He needs a big W right here. What better way to kick it off than with Jericho? For the World Heavyweight Championship, I have Alberto Del Rio retaining over Dolph Ziggler. For the Money in the Bank ladder match for a World Heavyweight Championship contract, I have Wade Barrett being your winner, and it's about damn time. For the WWE Championship, I have John Cena somehow getting the job done as he picks up that W over Mark Henry. And for the All-Star Money in the Bank ladder match for the WWE Championship contract, I have Daniel Bryan following the footsteps of CM Punk, becoming a two-time Money in the Bank winner. And folks, there you have it. Hey, what are your match predictions? I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to interact with us right now by hitting us up on YouTube at the RCWR show. You can leave your comments below. Hey, you can also hit us up on Twitter at Infinity1Prod, also at the RCWR show. You can even show some love on our Facebook page over at Infinity One Productions. That's right, Infinity One Productions. You thought I was going to add a little bit something else to that. No, I wasn't. And hey, if you are spot on, we will show you some love when we get ready to do our post-show covering the fallout from Money in the Bank. I do welcome you all. I would love for you guys to join us. We're going to be doing a special simulcast for that pay-per-view Sunday, immediately after it goes off the air. So we're looking at 10:45 p.m. Eastern, or again, as soon as the pay-per-view goes off the air. Join us for our special simulcast. We'll be doing it right here on blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR show. And we'll also be doing it on YouTube, where you'll be able to see yours truly live in the flesh, reading some of you all's comments that are coming in to us from our chat room at Blog Talk, also in our chat room on YouTube. Phone lines will be open, as we would love to hear from you. So make sure that you join us this Sunday, July 14th, for the RCWR post show, covering the fallout from Money in the Bank in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.